We read you, Zordon.
Hopefully Alpha has freed you in time. You must morph at once to help Trini and Billy.
Let's give Rita one of her own lessons. It's morphin' time!
What? That's how it happened. Welcome back to now, part 2 of Revice Month. Yeah, this past week, nothing was uploaded because, long story short, I had no space on my tablet to, save anything. So I spent literally a majority of the day going through so many different apps, basically trying to clear space and whatnot and save it up. Then eventually, I ended up having to delete all my footage. So, here we are now to reshoot. But hopefully today will go much better, as I should have enough storage on my phone now. Well, not my phone, my tablet. But either way, my backup will be to save it all on my OneDrive. But with that explanation out of the way, let's continue on with Revice Month. Because now, this is part 2, and we will be looking at KamenRider Revice, the show proper. So, going into it, as we all know, Revice came out last year, 2021, going into 2022, and it was meant to celebrate, and does celebrate, KamenRider's 50th anniversary, and boy does it show, with the number 50 in places, like literally almost anywhere in the show, and I'm not just talking about the suits. But yeah, as an anniversary season, this is pretty nice. This is one of those anniversary seasons where it's not so in your face, but it's chill with it, to which I quite enjoy. And I should also put this out there too, that when Revice was out, I was watching this show, but I unfortunately didn't keep up with it. I did keep up to a certain point, when Thundergale Revice was introduced, but eventually I just missed my place and wasn't able to finish the show with a couple of episodes left. But I just got done rewatching it about a month ago, and here we are now. So, let's talk about the show right now, starting with the opening. This is a dope opening. In all honesty, Live Devil is one of the best KamenRider openings out there. It's up there with Gaim and Exade and Zio just duking it out for first place because it's just so woo. It's not even that it's just so woo. It's woo woo. You just sweat off some energy doing cardio. It's honestly, most likely just that. This is the kind of song that you would try to do cardio to because it's so energetic. And even when it's going slow for a moment, it hypes itself back up naturally. And Vice's voice actor is part of this song because you hear Vice's voice comes up every now and then. It's just, oh my god. As for the song itself, it goes along with the theme of the show, which is about inner demons. Speaking of which, Episode 1, 50 years ago in Latin America, a demonic stamp was uncovered, and as one can imagine,
after 10,000 years I'm free! It's time to conquer Earth!
Yeah, all hell breaks loose, releasing demons. Soon afterwards, we learn about our villains, the Deadmans, and their goal. The two males of the group are Olteca and Julio, and they strive to bring forth their leader, Gift, and the girl amongst them is Gift's fiancée, Aguilera. And now, these guys are some of the rare times in KamenRider that our antagonists aren't some evil group of aliens, or whatever, from a previous conflict. They're a cult, and they come off like it just everywhere. I think the last time in KamenRider where we had a cult as the villains. It was in Revice? No, not Revice. I mean, this show's Revice. I mean, sorry, my mind's blanked out. The last time I'm pretty sure we had a cult as the villains was in Black with Gorgum. But here, it's just, they took the word cult and ran with it. Like hell, they worship the devil, they have multiple followers. Like, literally, Aguilera is meant to be the queen standing right next to the devil. They're a cult. Alright, which brings me to another thing that I really like about this show, especially from rewatching the first episode. And I bring it up now so I don't mention it later. The three characters we focus on are all human. Like, yeah, they've turned themselves into demons, but they all start off as they were normal people who chose to be evil. And honest to God, I thank my time watching Showa KamenRider for me to like that so much. And honestly, it's just so much better too. Like, almost, not even almost, just nowadays, it's always aliens or monsters from wherever coming to Earth to attack people. But the fact that the bad guys are people that chose to become monsters, it's just so much better because it shows, well, not everything's black and white. The world's gray. And so, let's actually now talk about our protagonists. Opposing the Deadmans are a military group called Phoenix, who have developed a rider system that allows one to tame their inner demon. The scientist and the designer of the Revice driver has long passed away, but the one who built it was his son, George Karazaki. And George is the chosen one. Because Guy from Gokaiger was so awesome. Someone must have thought, we need another Guy, but as a KamenRider fan. And that is straight up George. And not only is that George, I want to say George is basically Guy 2.0. Because he brought his OC to life. Just, mind you, Guy could have done the same through mysticism or whatever, like power of being chosen by the Six Rangers. But with George, he's a scientist. And so he scientifically and just ingenuitively brought his OC work to life. And that is awesome. And I think in real life, too, George's actor is a KamenRider fan, which makes it all better. And so, moving on to our other protagonists, we have the Igarashi family. There's Daiji, the middle child, and a newly promoted Phoenix captain who is meant to be Revice. There's Sakura, the youngest daughter, who studies either karate or taekwondo. But the point is that she's a black belt, and she keeps up with that the entire run of the show. And let's see here. There's also their parents, Yukimi and Genta, as they all live together and run a family business, the Happy Spa Bathhouse. To which, I'm not gonna lie, literally before recording, I searched online to find something, because in the show, they actually have these t-shirts promoting the bathhouse, and I wanted to look online to see if anyone actually makes and sell them. So it actually does. Matter of fact, a couple of sites actually do, to which I just find that cool because I would totally want to buy one or two because someone else wears them, and they're just nice looking shirts in general, and I would definitely buy one, especially from this show. And so, the Happy Spa Bathhouse is where we'll also meet a few regular customers who turn out to be more important later. Starting off with Busan, who I've talked about already. Family friend. But before going forward right now, if you have seen this show great. But if you haven't seen the Revice Legacy KamenRider Veil special, I would definitely recommend watching that first. And also, if you haven't seen this show in its entirety too, I would definitely recommend watching it too before this video. But yeah, there's Busan, who is a family friend. And also, there's the Yushijima family, where it's a husband, a wife, and their son, Hikaru. The dad, on the other hand, we've all seen this actor before, because it's the dad from Ninja. And I think in general, the last time I saw this actor in something too, he was in Aba Ranger as a manager, I believe, for a girl group. But yeah, it's just something to mention. And lastly, there's Iki, the oldest sibling, and the one who could currently see and communicate with his own inner demon, Vice. And so, finally, we cut to Daiji's captain inauguration, where George debuts the Revice driver, and the Deadmans attack the ceremony. From what we see, the Revice driver can't be utilized by just anyone, as it could backfire into creating demons. Daiji tried to use it himself, as it was originally meant for him, but in this case, he was way too scared and saw what would happen if he failed. So, with things looking bad and thinking about his family, Iki takes the driver and not only tames Vice, but the two of them become Kamen Riders. Iki becomes KamenRider Revi, and Vice becomes, well, KamenRider Vice, which is also how he gets his name. And because the gear was meant to make a KamenRider Revice, George just splits it down the middle for both of them, Revi and Vice. So, it's been a long time. Oh god, my mind blanked out for a moment. Let's talk about the suit before I have another stroke. So, KamenRider Revice. I freaking love both their suits. Originally, when I saw both of them, I liked Vice more than Revi, but now that opinion has switched because I actually like Revi's look a bit more than Vice. I think I liked Vice's look more at first because it resembled Showa Kamen Rider with the simplistic suit design and the pink scarf. Also, that helmet, it's just nice. There's also a plushie toy of it too, where a plushie helmet where I wish I bought one. Not for me, for my sister. But for Revi, he looks fantastic. I didn't know how I was going to feel about a Kamen Rider who was pink again. But in this case, it looks so good here. And I think it's mainly because of all the colors gelling well together. Pink, sky blue, and purple. And the motif being a T-Rex. That's just sweet to go along with the whole demon theme going on. So why not a T-Rex? And this is something that's nice too. And that this show doesn't have to be up in your face to show that it's an anniversary season. Because it does so through its nods. Because, for example, while Vice's suit is pretty simplistic, Revi's suit is pretty intricate. And I think the best part about it is the number 50 on the chest, which actually took me a while to realize that. But once I did, I thought, all the applause. And while we're at it too, I mentioned before how Vice looks a bit Showa heavy. And this is another thing I just realized. I think both Revi and Vice are meant to be homages to these two previous Kamen Rider eras. Like Revi being, I guess, an homage to Heisei because of how bulky and armored his suit is. While Vice is more simplistic and rather reminiscent of Showa Kamen Rider with riders from there like Ichigo and so on. And so while we're at it too, I actually want to talk about, well, first I want to talk about the transformation sequence, then I want to talk about their driver. The transformation sequence is so sweet because I think it's mainly because of the images in the back, where it's a texting conversation of with both Iki and Vice. I just always thought that was cute, especially when I read the text. Now, for the Revice driver, I like this belt. Once again, I love this is an anniversary aspect to it with the number 50 like literally coordinated into it. And not only that, it made Etched Sketchers look, well, cool, especially in this design. And while I'm at it too, we really don't see a lot of purple in the belts for KamenRider. And so the fact that this is purple, contrasting with all the other colors going on here, I love it. And I think like blue for the straps would work a lot better, and does, than silver or gray, like what we usually get. But yeah, I quite like everything going on here with Revice, with what they have. And while we're still geeking out, one last thing I'm going to bring up is their weapons. Because Revice gets something really cool, and it's an axe that doubles as a blaster. I am in love with all of that because, once again, it's keeping up with their color scheme. And two, battle axes are awesome, and they are so underutilized depending on the rider and what suit. Because, honest to God, for the base form, anytime a main rider gets a weapon, it's a sword, or something that can turn into a sword. And before anyone tries to throw out their X-Aid, yeah, he had a hammer, but it could also be used as a sword. This, on the other hand, is finally different, because battle axes are so awesome, and the fact that it can be used as a blaster is even more awesome. Hell, they actually get a hammer for a weapon too, and combined with the axe makes a sword. But I just love that axe. And they have like another thing too. I believe it's something that they have, but almost anyone from Phoenix would have too. It's just a cell phone that could also be used as a gun. To which, that too ain't bad, but I'm pretty sure after a while they stopped using the gun part. That's so. And yo, this show, because like watching the first episode and watching their first battle as Revice, this show had a budget, because both Revice and Vice have moves that they never do again after the first episode. Like, for example, Revice can sprout dinosaur legs. That would be great for kicking. And Vice can straight up grow a T-Rex tail and whack anyone with it. And breathe fire. Honest to God. But the breathing fire part, that he only did twice. Once in Superhero Senki, and literally once in the show. And that just made me think, why would they not try to do that again? Especially when you have a writer who would be able to do that in this show, which we'll get to in a bit.
3, 2, 1.
Iki is a bit adamant at first about being a writer, because he and Daiji's mom got injured during the Dead Man's attack, and he chooses to keep the family bathhouse afloat. And two, he does not trust Vice. But to be fair, why wouldn't one trust their inner demon? But that at least lasts until the next episode when they come to an agreement. So now, let's actually talk about Revice's form changes. Because the first few form changes we get for the first 10 to 11 episodes are all based around previous Kamen Riders, but mixed with different animals. Like, for example, their first form change, Eagle Genome, is based off of Kamen Rider W, and their animal motif for it is an eagle. This is really interesting because Revice, while his appearance changes, he keeps his color scheme from his base form. Vice, on the other hand, gets the color changes in small details. I don't mind that idea, but at least for Revi, how he looks, there are few that I like more than others because, well, for starters, it starts off with the under abs. Like, Revi's base form's abs, they stay throughout most of the form changes, and it's kind of unneeded, especially when you look at Eagle Genome first. Like the eagle's head may cover up the abs, but the abs are still there, and it's just a bit troublesome. It's like, for the other form changes, they didn't need that. And honestly, it would have looked a bit better too. So, for what form changes from this show do I like, out of the rider-based forms? That's a tough question. I think my only one favorite I can think of so far is Mammoth, where it's based off of Deno. Revi looks great there, but Vice looks like a Muppet. But all my attention is on Revi for this. Like, Revi looks great at least. And if there's like another form on him that looks nice, I guess I would say Terra, because that's based off of Fi's. But to be fair there, like, Revi, that suit looks better with the chest closed. When it opens up, it doesn't have most of my attention. Like, I get it's supposed to be based off of Fi's Axel, but that's just me. Oh yeah, and also, there are some forms where Vice can actually transform into a vehicle. But that's only with like two forms, Terra and Jackal, where he turns into a skateboard. And a Swirly because George... Well, what is because George decided to get even with him. Oh, yeah. Ooh. The remixes. I gotta be honest. The remixes, in my opinion, don't look bad. It's just how they're made, where Revi and Vice, they do some circus type shit to become a T-Rex or a Mantis or an Eagle, and how they do it is just woo. Like, how do you say or show that you do yoga without saying you do yoga? Episode 3, we get an early cameo of the Demon's Driver, first thought by Daiji wanting to use it himself and is shot down. I bring it up here because this driver, you could say, is a Chekhov's gun. We first see this driver here, and it's gonna come right back later. By the end of episode 4, Vice peeks at a picture of Iki and Daiji, and Iki vanishes from the picture. What does that mean? We don't know yet. Before going further, I should mention someone for context. Hiromi. He was the captain from episode 1 who tried to henshin and failed, making another demon instead. Since then, he's been demoted to squad leader and plays a red herring, you could say, in the next episode that I'm talking about now. And so, episode 5, it starts off with 2 Vice stamps stolen, and Hiromi is played throughout the episode as the thief, and which we'll swing back to in a minute. The rest of the episode is the introduction of a new rider who attacks Revi from behind, making it clear that he's evil. Matter of fact, that's actually his name, KamenRider Evil. So, let's now talk about his suit. I actually really like Evil's look. Like, in contrast to Revi, whose base form is a lot more intricate, Evil's is a lot more simplistic. And I love the details, I love the colors. Teal is a fantastic choice, especially when you're trying to make it evil, mixing it with black and silver. Though if I could call out one thing though, the helmet, that's just weird to me because, well, he has like a point on top and his motif is a bat. I just find that weird. Back to what I was saying before about Hiromi. You'd think off the bat at first it was Hiromi who stole the Vice stamps and maybe be evil, but it turns out it's Daiji, or rather, Daiji's inner demon, Kagero. Before a Phoenix operation began, George gave Daiji the two-side driver to give him a second chance. And considering what one needs to be a writer in this show, it backfires, with Daiji switching out for Kagero. Episode 7, Daiji is starting to be suspected as evil, and as such, Hiromi is picked to become KamenRider Demons, thus bringing back the Demons driver. Now, KamenRider Demons look, in my opinion, it's not bad, but I just don't... Oh, here's the thing. I don't hate it, it's just not my favorite. Like, the helmet with the multiple eyes on it, because he is based off of a spider, I like that. The webs, like the shot of a spider web taking up the chest, I like that. I think the suit's just not for me is all. Though I will say, instead of form changes, he can actually change up parts of his bodies, which we'll get to in a bit. So, going back to Kagero, he's exposed next episode, but what I really admire is this show getting deep with the concept of people and our inner demons, because Kagero goes way back to when Iki and Daiji were kids. Just all that time, Daiji, while he loves his older brother, he's secretly jealous of him at times. Like, for starters, he was meant to be Revice, Iki always being the center of attention, blah blah blah, just in your business, just like all that hate festering up and becoming what stands before him. And I quite like it. And I like that. Why I think it's nice, because it shows some actual realism of what we keep to ourselves and won't act out. And to further that, it's Vice. I feel like I just splurred my own words for a moment, but this at least thought is real. Plus I'm reading a script, so yeah. Anywho, even Vice calls Iki out saying, "You're not really trying. Like, you're saying you're trying, but you're not really trying." That's, like, even a demon can call out someone's bullshit and be honest. I just always thought that was cool. And so, by episode 10, Daiji is finally freed from Kagero and takes the proper role of the secondary writer, KamenRider Live. Now, I freaking love Live's suits. I love the helmet. I love that chest armor. And god damn it, that cloak going down. That is all fly, and I love it. It's just such a nice suit. It feels so holy, and it's precious. I freaking love that suit. It's such a good suit. Teal is a nice color, and mixed with everything else, it's fine. Though, actually, before going further, I want to geek out over one more thing. The two-side driver. Because that's what both Evil and Live use. Now, for Live, he can use it as a gun. But for Evil, he can use it as a sword. And personally, I prefer it more as a gun than as a sword. And the reason why is because, as a sword, here's the handle, here's the blade. And straight up swinging that around has to be annoying. No reverse grip, just it's just weird to me. And it's kind of like Mega Silver's weapon, where the gun can become a sword, but when it's a sword, the blade's out like this. That's just as strange too, because the trigger and handle still stay like this. But so, episode 11, Sakura is delivered the Libria driver to become a writer herself, and she comes up short. Like, the rationale is because she's yet to know her own flaws and weaknesses to accept, and once she does, her own inner demon is born. And so, one thing I really appreciate is how, this is just for Kamen Rider in general, I really like how female writers are coming more to the forefront in the Reiwa era. Like with this, Zero One, and Geats, the tertiary writers so far have all been women. And I like that. And I want to see more of that. And I like how, with the indication of Revice Girls Remix, like, we have better representation of female protagonists. And with Sakura, when this show was airing, I don't think anyone, and I mean anyone, was thinking that she would be a writer. I think we all thought that she would have been the leading girl. But once episode 11 came in, I was honestly surprised. Hell, I don't even think there were any scans of her suit or anything, just a promo of the next episode of her look. To which, speaking of which, for who sent her the driver, it wasn't George. In fact, her driver was designed by George and works like the Revice driver, where it's meant to tame your inner demon. But George didn't build it nor send it, so someone who's in the know about Phoenix had to have done it. But for now, though, let's talk about KamenRider Jean. Her suit, with her suit, not as good as her brother's, or Demon's for that matter. And I don't know why, like, this suit, it looks like it was designed late. This is a suit that looks like they needed to make it by the next episode, and here we go. Also, the helmet to me is a bit weird, because her motif is a cobra, but for me at least, it's the face. Her face looks like a chicken, which, I don't know, that's just me. I just always found that to be a bit strange. Speaking of which is strange, her inner demon, Love Cove. It's a big snake plushie who is infatuated with Hiromi. I'm not gonna lie, Love Cove is adorable, but the fact that she's a demon is just wow, because she's so adorable. Now that we have all 5 writers, I want to talk about Vice Stamps and how they're used. There's ones for form changes and others for weapons and minor upgrades. For Revice and Live, they obviously get the form changes, but Jean's Vice Stamps allow Love Cove to change into different kinds of weapons, like a pair of war fans, or a bazooka, or a Grim Reaper style halberd. And Demon's Vice Stamps give him whatever kind of body augment, like a drill arm or grasshopper legs. I take it as a reflection of the time periods, with the main writer and the secondary writer being more Heisei focused, because form changes in Kamen Rider are a major part of the Heisei era, all while the tertiary writer and the coordinary writer are Showa focused, because bar Stronger and Black RX, Showa writers don't get form changes, but they do carry weapons, body augmented or not. And I should elaborate again, this is how I interpret it, because the other two don't get a lot in terms of form changes, which I don't mind because not every writer ever has one, and in some cases, minor versatility is all you need. Shoot, look at Den-O. He needs to change outfits for every new weapon.